Tonight, folks in part of Tyler are about to see a whole lot of construction. The city gave the Tyler Economic Development Council the go-ahead on an underground expansion that could help bring in more businesses once it's completed. KLTV 7's April Pierdon gives us an update on what one open plot of land will hold.
Next to this busy FM 14 road, a plot of land, 282 acres to be exact, will soon be taken over by construction.
A lot of businesses are going to want to come and develop that property.
Located just north of Loop 323 along U.S. Highway 271 and FM 14, Scott Martinez, the president and CEO of the Tyler Economic Development Council, says the site holds potential to spark growth in North Tyler.
Having it on the north side of the town really gets the truck traffic to Interstate 20, where a lot of the companies will take their product to serve national and regional markets.
With utilities being critical, Tyler City Council approved nearly $1 million to extend sewer service, which for Kate Dietz, the director of utilities for the city of Tyler, says it will make the site shovel-ready.
Sewer is the way to getting development in your area, and we've already have the water line. It's a large water line that carries water up to John Souls.
With sewer service in place, the site will be ready for companies that will drive lasting growth and community impact.
So if you've got water and sewer, you've got a development.
This reduces cost and risk for prospective businesses, speeding up development.
It's hard to grow a community with just residential growth. You've got to have commercial growth, manufacturing growth, healthcare growth, and all those things really make our economy much more resilient and sustainable.
Martinez expects that growth to come soon.
I anticipate within 5 years us having a lot of companies out there where a lot of our neighbors are going to go to work every day.
April Pierdon, KLTV 7 News.
26.4 acres are already under contract. The first construction project is expected to start by the end of the year. Again, this project is south of Tyler State Park.